Welcome to the Inspiring Gateway. I'm Asia, and before we get into the introduction to what we'll be doing here in this space, this gateway, this navigation system, this resource, um, just different ways of explaining it, but I want to talk about why I'm doing this. And um, it's kind of hard to talk about, but if we can look at life in general and look at our lives in the state that they're in right now, then we can see that there's a imbalance in the world. If at its most general form is imbalance. It's imbalanced in many ways in society, in the family structure, in the thoughts. Everybody's living in different realities because there's no more common sense. And that's because everybody is working on outdated systems, pretty much. There's many words you can call it, but the systems are outdating, and therefore we can see the crumbling at this point, things falling apart. So, this is an existence, the earth that we're living on, right? So in order for us to continue on in existence, if we are going to be at an imbalance, that leads to chaos. When something is tilting towards a negative side, it's going to be more chaotic, and therefore it's more risking life and preserving life. It's more in survival mode. That's just the nature of things. So the earth has protective mechanisms, just as we do, just as the environment does, just as we use protective mechanisms in many different forms and fashions, from weaponry to war to killing to stealing. All of those type of things are in order to gain some type of security, unless you're acting out in really lower natures. But the earth has protective mechanisms, and they come in the forms that people may not perceive them to come in. And that's because they may have limited awareness. So part of what I'm doing is bringing out that awareness, because depending on where you are in your spiritual path, or if you even know you're on one, you could possibly be not realize it because it's outside of your awareness. So I'm here to help bring out information that was previously denied in previous times to um, the mass group of people, to the collective. Knowledge has really been held back to a selected few in different groups, however you may perceive those things. But because the state of the earth and what it's in, and the chaos in many different realms, realities, and dimensions, so we're in the time where we need to expand in a more harmonious, balanced way. And that is done in many ways, but one of them is through knowledge, through intellect, because that's in the higher natures. And that causes people to act in higher ways, higher forms than the destructive ones that bring the imbalance. So through knowledge, we're able to build on higher natures. And that's what I'm doing, because in order for us to be able to do that, we need to be able to connect to the source. And that's the truth. And that's us finding our own truth, not receiving so much from the world, but connecting to our source. And most people aren't able to do that because they don't have the knowledge. There's many different ways to connect. There's many different pathways, but people who know and are pretty much gatekeepers until you know for yourself. And that's how people get taken advantage of daily. Not knowing. Ignorance is not bliss. It is, but it's not. Especially when shit get deep. So I'm here to do my part and for you to connect to the source through information, knowledge that you can see for yourself. That's how you build a relationship, is through your intuition, your being able to judge. But you're not going to be able to judge if you don't have the awareness. So that's why it's not good to close the door, especially on information. Ain't nothing that scary. What's scary is not knowing. That's when you're in the dark. Nobody likes to be in the dark about stuff because you don't know what the fuck is going on. It doesn't have to be darkness, but most people don't want to take the responsibility in doing that. So that's why the door have been closed on this type of knowledge, because you can't just, unless you're fortunate or your lineage or in different forms, you're able to come into this type of knowledge, but it's been denied to you just based off of you and not really wanting to take and I'm just not talking about you, I'm talking about me too, because I already walked this, so I know. Not taking responsibility for yourself in your life. Like, so that's why I'm doing this, and hopefully, you give it a chance, because it's up to you. I'm just doing my job regardless, but it's up to you if you want to receive. It's here. At least there, I'm showing a path, a doorway, an entry point. Okay?